Hey people, welcome to eCommerce 360. Today we have Rebecca, CEO of Raincity Agency, a leading Shopify design and development agency. Hey Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So Rebecca, before we get into what got you onto this journey, let us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I started the agency back in 2017. We only work on the Shopify platform and we spend our focus looking at user experience, design, all things development, front and back end. And a lot of the merchants that we tend to help are typically doing website redesigns or platform migrations over to Shopify.
Amazing. So let's go back to when it all started, right? So how did you come upon this idea of starting an agency for Shopify platforms? Were you trying to scratch your own itch, or were you trying to help out a friend? How did you land on this idea?
So I was actually a merchant myself. We kind of got started in the dropshipping boom, and we had our own brand selling all American t-shirts. And that was dropshipped from a supplier based out of New Jersey. And that's kind of where it all started. So I was completely new to Shopify then, had never really worked with it, had a freelance developer that built the site for us. And as we started to kind of get into Shopify a little bit more and playing around with it, I really liked working with it and wanted to start redesigning my own site. And kind of work through different business models in the dropshipping space, and got to a point where I started a skincare brand. And to pay for the skincare brand, I was part of this like brand builder bootcamp style, built my own website and then started helping out other people in the same like workshop as me create their own Shopify sites. And it got to the point where I was getting really, really busy with the Shopify work, and the skincare business was kind of sitting a bit stagnant. And I made that decision there and then on which did I enjoy more and which did I want to work on. And that was kind of how Raincity started. We sold the skincare brand, and then since then have just been totally focused on Shopify and agency life. So completely different, but I love it.
Must have been a very tough decision. So, taking a decision is one thing, but then carrying through with the decision is whole another challenge. So, what were your teething problems? What were the challenges that you faced when running your business, especially as a woman-owned business? Did you have any challenges specific to your gender, or was it just all challenges that any e-commerce businesses or agencies that start when they are at the beginning of their business?
I think a little bit of a mix. I think this industry is very male dominated, and there's not that many female Shopify agency owners out there. There's a handful, I would say, in the UK, and obviously probably more across America and other areas. But you still kind of do stand out a little bit because it is so male dominated. And when you go to events and conferences, you will notice there is not that many women in there, and especially women that own their own agencies. So it does feel kind of special, and it's a rewarding thing to do as well. Like, it's really nice when you do see other female founders, because you do tend to have the same struggles in a way. I think one of the main ones for me was having confidence in decision making on a business level, and really figuring out what my next steps were. I've never worked in an agency before. I'm not trained in UX. I'm not trained in development. So kind of navigating my way through that space and figuring out what I should be doing next, I would say that has always been the biggest challenge. I think also looking at how you grow. Like, we've grown completely organically. Like, we've never had any investment or any funding. It's all been self-funded. And doing that in a natural way, like, obviously there's always going to be a time where you need more staff and things are getting bigger, and it's looking at pre-planning and forward planning on when those hires should be next. And I think that's the toughest thing to think about as you are growing and scaling, because you need to be able to service the clients that you've sold to, and you also want to maintain that same level of standard as you're working through each project. And I think just keep pushing the boundaries. I think that's always something that's exciting. And when you are like a business owner, like there's always something new out there that you can learn from and introduce into your company as well.
That's amazing, right? When you stated that all your growth was mainly organic, that is fantastic, especially for any business that just goes on at the starting stages. That's amazing. So when you say that most of your growth is organic, I'm assuming that you did a great job with one, and then they pass on the word to another. That's how it spread. What would be your core differentiator as a business, as an agency for e-commerce businesses that makes you stand out?
So I always say, and this is like one of the main reasons why I kind of built the agency after having my own brands as well. Like I really kind of learned what the frustrations were from the merchant side. And the main point is always communication. Like having someone that replies to you, with a minimum within the day. Like you shouldn't be waiting days to get a response from someone. It's so frustrating, especially when you're working on a big project, you're excited about getting the site live, like you want to know where everything's up to, making sure that, we can be relied on as well, which I think is really important. Like we always say, like communication, reliability and trust. Like we're a more boutique sized agency. So every client will get that same like personalized experience when they do work with us. It's not something that's, it's not just a number to us. Like we really actually care about each of the brands and businesses that we choose to work with, and just making sure that they're always at the forefront of what we do, because that's how we've got a business at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And, you started in 2017, right? And since then you've grown and you've become popular, and you've probably learned a lot of lessons. And what are the things that have changed since 2017 from e-commerce businesses demands per se, right? I'm sure, the channels have changed, the settings of these channels have changed. The kind of businesses that you've built in 2017 versus now has gone through a tremendous change. But what do you think has seen the most changes in terms of the demands from e-commerce businesses?
Yeah, I think this also like happens as you grow as an agency as well, because the bigger you get as an agency, the more client demands change. So you're kind of keeping up with each other in terms of the level and growth that you're scaling at is like kind of on par with the types of brands that you're attracting to work with. There's definitely, and there always will be, like a really core focus in things like how can we improve conversion rates? How can we improve average order value? But then there's also things thinking about different ways and unique ways of capturing audiences, whether that comes through live shopping, whether it comes through creating quizzes on your site to help people find what they're looking for, pre-sale landing pages for sending traffic to. How can we improve customer retention, through the use of subscriptions or memberships? And then you've got like now, which is the biggest kind of buzzword at the minute, I would say, is like going headless. And it's all about like where the brands are at in terms of their kind of growth, what they see that they want to achieve, and how can we match up with that and still keep bringing them fresh ideas. And as with everything, the industry is always changing. There's always going to be new ideas for user experience and the user journey and how customers are shopping. And obviously the main one years and years ago was mobile first, and it's still the case, but it's more about like adapting it even further and keep on developing those targets that people had the first time around.
Constantly reinventing yourself with the times, I think. So let's take a short detour and talk about women-owned e-commerce businesses, right? You were speaking earlier about women-owned agencies. They were far and few, and I'm assuming it was the case in 2017 as well. Women-owned e-commerce businesses were far and few, and now that has changed. What are your thoughts about the growth in the position of women who are owning businesses or starting their own businesses?
Yeah, I think we're definitely seeing like a higher number of female-owned brands coming through. I think there still needs to be like more. I think there's always going to be like, we want to work with more women. that have their own businesses and that are looking to kind of take it to the next level. We've got a really, really great couple of clients that we've been working with for, I'd say, like the past 3 years or so. And they're both like women founded, women powered, women run. And it's really, really great to see that. And it's something that, you know, should be celebrated as, you know, more and more keep joining. But yeah, I think there's always going to be more space for women to join the e-commerce industry and world.
Yeah, the future looks great. So any parting advice to young women entrepreneurs, any mistakes or any places where they can turn to advice when it starts to, you know, beginning or starting their own business? What are your suggestions?
Yeah, I've got quite a few. I would say, number one, like, don't run before you can walk. And I know it's like really, really cliche, but it is still so true when you're growing a business. Like, take things a little bit slower, take a step back, try and look at like the bigger picture. You know, where is the direction you want to go in and what are the steps that you need to achieve to get there? I think one of the main lessons I learned quite early on was make sure that you're working on the business and not in the business. And I think really separating those two out help you see things from that bigger picture. It's really easy to get caught up in the day-to-day run-ins that could be handed off to someone else to do. And when your time should be spent in like the strategy and the growth and the scale of things. And always looking at hiring people who are better at what they do than what you could do. I think that's really important because control as a business owner is something that's really difficult to let go of. And the more that you can learn, like, you know, hiring those people that have trained in something, they're really, really good at it, they're so much better than you, and will help you do that step back and look at things on, you know, working on it and not in it. And yeah, have trust and faith in your employees and your staff, because they're the ones that are the driving force behind the business every day. And the more investment and time that you can put into them will help you in the long run.
Absolutely. So women business owners, stick to the big picture.
Yeah, definitely.
So this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on my show and giving us deep insights about how to run a business, how to start a business, how to scale a business, and how do you behave as a leader in any business that you are owning or running. So this has been great. Thank you so much. I hope our listeners or watchers or viewers are able to glean some real deep insights from the conversation that we had. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, thank you for having me.